Hello, everybody. Now, in the UK, the Home Secretary is Shabana Mahmood, who is a Pakistani woman that's been appointed to that position by Keir Starmer. And over the last week, she has been making lots of announcements and pre-announcements about immigration policy and how it's going to change now that she's Home Secretary. And there's been a lot of reporting about this, that, she is marching towards the right, and the people on her left are calling her, saying that she's pandering to the far right, which nothing could be further from the truth, because what she's done is thrown a tiny little bit of red meat to patriots with one good thing, packaged up with, frankly, a load of dog dung, like a CDO in the financial crisis. This is like a CDO for immigration. You've got your little bit of AAA packaged up with a whole load of C and D and E classifications of loans and debt, or immigration policy in this case, all bundled up together. So what we have here now, this is from the BBC's website. I'm no fan of the BBC, but they've done a quick, fairly good summary of the things that she's advocating. The first one is very good. Refugee status will become temporary. This is great, because at the moment, under the UN Refugee Convention, refugee status is permanent. Well, actually, that's how it's applied here in the UK. But some countries do this. If you are given refugee status, it's temporary, and then when your country is safe, you go back home. That's eminently sensible. That's good. But all the other things are either meaningless or worse than the little bit of red meat that she's thrown out here. So it says human rights law will be reconsidered. Nothing definite here. And, essentially, human rights law that we have in the UK it ties us into the European Convention on Human Rights. Yes, we have Tony Blair's Human Rights Act 1998, and that requires all of the courts in the UK to make all of their judgments in line with all of the judgments of the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg. So, there's room to amend the Human Rights Act 1998. I would say we should get rid of it, repeal it altogether. But she's not actually saying that she will do this. She will consider maybe talking about having a discussion about changing one bit of the Human Rights Act 1998. But then at the end of the day, nothing's going to happen about it, because all of her own Labour backbenchers are going to vote against any change to Tony Blair's Human Rights Act. So unless we leave the ECHR, this is not going to change. The situation is never going to change in this country, where we have activist judges in positions of power making judgments about asylum cases. In almost every case, they say, "Oh no, they can stay. They are you must give them money, you must give them housing, they must be allowed to stay in the country." So she's not doing anything about changing human rights law. She's just saying she'll consider it. And she's not doing anything about coming out of the ECHR, which is what we need to do to take control of our own policy and our own immigration policy and our own ability to control our borders. So that's meaningless. Just to put this up again. The next thing on that is guaranteed housing and weekly pay will end for some asylum seekers. Very clever wording here, because asylum seekers are not the same as the people who have been given refugee status. Once someone's given refugee status, they'll still be allowed to keep all of the housing and benefits they have. This is just talking about people who are seeking asylum before they are given refugee status. So like in the first point, it says refugee status. In the third point here, it says asylum seekers. And that will end for some asylum seekers. How many? Maybe, 1, 2 out of 150,000 in the system, and tens of thousands more who come every year. That's not going to make any material difference whatsoever to the amount of money that the British taxpayer is paying at the moment. And then we come down to the dog dung, the real dog dung that's wrapped up with a little bit of red meat. New, safe and legal routes to the UK. And actually, she is promoting this on her own X page. Look at this. This was something she put out yesterday, Shabana Mahmood's X account. New, safe and legal routes for genuine refugees. So she's actually trumpeting the idea that there's going to be more migration, more asylum seekers, more refugees, not fewer, with safe and legal routes being opened up by Shabana Mahmood and Keir Starmer and the Labour regime. And so this all is in line, of course, with the UN Global Migration Compact that we were signed into by Theresa May back in 2018, I think, something around that time. You see Uniparty, Tory, Labour, they're all the same. They're all acting together. So she's saying, oh, yes, well, we're going to make refugee status temporary. Okay, that sounds good. But then she's going to open up more safe legal routes. So instead of having 50,000 military-age men crossing the Channel from France every year, well, they're still going to be able to cross the Channel. That's not going to stop. She's going to actually then send planes to airports in Ethiopia or Eritrea or Congo or Tajikistan or wherever to fly people here safely and legally as asylum seekers. And of course, once they're on the plane, they will be expedited very, very quickly and given refugee status almost immediately, because if they're coming safely and legally, I'm sure they will be declared genuine asylum seekers before they even get on a plane from, used to be Afghanistan. And of course, lots of people arrive from Ukraine. That's the two places where we've had safe and legal systems, specific systems to bring people to the UK on aeroplanes in the past 5, 6, 7 years. They've closed now. The Afghanistan scheme is closed. The Ukraine scheme is coming to an end. Obviously, the war in Ukraine is coming to an end as Russia is winning there. But she's saying essentially she's going to open new safe legal routes from other places around the world to bring people to the UK. So this is your D&E policy, your DEE minus tranche of dog dung policy wrapped in with a tiny little bit of red meat. And the net result will be more people coming to the UK and no change in the situation in the Channel. The situation in the Channel is only helped when the weather is bad. It's not helped by anything that the Labour government, the Starmer regime, is doing. So for all the noise about, oh, isn't she wonderful? Oh, she could join a right-wing party. No, she's as left-wing as everybody else, and this is just a smokescreen for increasing migration to the UK, which, of course, is part of the general plan for replacement migration in the West, in countries which have indigenous white populations. So there you go. That's the actual situation behind the headlines that you see, which are always smokescreens and always distort the truth. There you go. In order to deal with immigration properly, you need to join the Heritage Party. We are the only party that's got a full and comprehensive policy in all areas, not just making refugee status temporary, but not having new safe routes and pushing the boats back to France in the Channel. And the thing also is that this doesn't say anything about legal migration for students and people coming in on work visas, which is at the moment 12 times higher than illegal migration or asylum seeking. the vast majority of people who do come to the country from abroad and not asylum seekers or even people coming across the channel, even though there's 50,000 people a year crossing the channel. Last year, the UK gave out 640,000 student and work visas. Now that's down actually from, it reached a peak in 2022, 2023, when there were over 1 million student and work visas given out. And even though that's gone down a little bit in 2024, still that is 12 times the rate at which people are crossing the channel illegally. And what Shabana Mahmood has done is she said, or what she hasn't done, is she hasn't said anything about reducing the number of student and work visas, which we really need to do, because we should not be bringing masses of people from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China, and Africa to work in entry-level jobs, essentially delivering pizzas or whatever, and staying in migrant hotels and not migrant hotels, but staying in the private rented sector, which of course drives the price up for British citizens and competes with British citizens for entry-level jobs, which is ridiculous, and that distorts the economy no end. She hasn't said anything about that. What we need to do is reduce work and student visas by at least a third, down to 200,000 maximum a year. And then, of course, with that would be gross, and then net immigration would turn into net emigration. Because if you give 200,000 visas out a year to students and workers, well, actually every year more than that will leave. They'll come to the end of their time in the UK and go home. So actually there will be a period of net emigration where the population can go down, which it really needs to do after cramming 10 million people extra into the country over the last 20 years or so under Blair, Brown, Cameron, May, Johnson, Sunak, and now Starmer. It doesn't change. Red, blue, blue, yellow, red, blue. It doesn't matter what you've got. Only the Heritage Party is going to actually stop this and stop and put a very, very strict cap on visas to deal with legal immigration as well as illegal immigration as well. Shabana Mahmood does not have the answer, and she is obfuscating and wrapping up really bad policy with a tiny little bit of good stuff to fool you all. Don't be fooled. Come and join me in the Heritage Party. heritageparty.org is where you can read our manifesto and sign up. Thanks for listening, everyone, and God bless you all.